Breaking news. A Ukrainian combat robot has single-handedly captured 3 of Putin's soldiers.
And let's be clear about this.
I want to be very clear. No human Ukrainian soldiers were present at the point of capture. You heard that right. As of yesterday, the rules of engagement, they've just fundamentally changed.
It's a massive shift in the paradigm of ground warfare. I mean, we are not just talking about a drone dropping a grenade anymore. This is a ground unit taking prisoners.
It is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026, and if you support Ukraine and want the absolute unvarnished truth about what is happening on the front lines, you need to subscribe to Defense Reports right now.
Do it.
It is your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. Go hit that button.
For sure, because the story we're covering today, it's going to be in the history books.
I'm Alex. Join me with Aria in the latest podcast by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today, oh boy, today we are covering the Lyman incident.
The Lyman incident involving the Droid TW-7.62.
And this isn't just about some cool gadget, folks. We are talking about a massive shift toward unmanned first warfare. We are going to tease apart how a single robot held a frontline position entirely alone for 45 days.
And we'll get into the first documented case of a ground robot destroying a heavy Russian armored vehicle and its crew.
Plus, we're going to get into the I Want to Live project, which, yeah, sounds like a movie title, but it's actually using technology to engineer surrender without bloodshed.
Basically, our mission today is to show you that we're not just looking at new tools. We are looking at the robotization of the line. It's a move toward, well, zero casualty offensive operations for Ukraine.
Okay, let's unpack this. The Lyman incident happened yesterday, January 27th. Take us to the scene. What exactly are we looking at here?
So we're in the Lyman sector, and you have to picture this. It's dense woodland, a very volatile tactical area. The unit involved is the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. Now, typically, clearing a forest position is just a nightmare for infantry. It's incredibly high risk. Ambushes are everywhere. Visibility is low.
Right. Clearing is usually military speak for walking into danger and just hoping you see the other guy first.
Exactly. But this time, they didn't send people. They sent the droid TW-7.62.
The UGV.
Right. An unmanned ground vehicle from the Ukrainian firm DevDroid. It approaches the Russian positions, and the footage that DevDroid released is, well, it's surreal.
It is absolute wild. I've watched the video like 5 times. You see 3 Russian soldiers emerge. They're taking off their body armor, their helmets. Then they lie prone on the ground.
And they're doing this in front of a machine.
That's the part that gets me. There are no Ukrainians shouting orders. They are following signals from the robot's turret.
The machine gun turret nods or moves back and forth to direct them.
Wait, hold on. A nodding machine gun turret? That sounds terrifyingly efficient, but how does that even work? How do they know what it means?
Well, it's a pretty universal language at that point, isn't it? If a gun barrel points at you and then gestures to the ground, you get the message.
I suppose you do.
As for the robot, it's acting as a force multiplier. It completely bypassed that high-risk clearing phase. It secured the area so the Ukrainian infantry didn't have to walk into a potential trap. They stayed back, safe, while the robot did the dangerous work.
So the robot takes the risk, the humans stay safe. That tracks. But let's talk about the machine itself. The Droid TW-7.62. It sounds like something from Star Wars, but it's very real. What's under the hood? Because this isn't just a remote control car with a gun taped to it.
Oh, far from it. It's built on the Inimo platform. That's a modular track chassis designed specifically for the Donbass mud.
Why track specifically? Is it just for the mud?
Yeah, that thick Ukrainian mud. Wheels just get stuck. Tracks keep moving. And the weapon system is a KT-7.62 machine gun. That's the tank version of the PKT.
And it's not just spraying bullets blindly, right? I mean, if it's capturing people, it has to be precise.
Not at all. It has an AI vision suite with 3 cameras. There's a daytime precision optic that can detect humans at 1,000 meters.
A full kilometer.
A wide-angle lens for navigating the terrain, and a thermal imager that picks up heat signatures at, 600 to 700 meters.
So there is physically no hiding from this thing. If you have a body temperature, it sees you.
Effectively, no. And it has a movement alert mode, so it tracks targets autonomously. But, and this is crucial, a human operator makes the final decision to fire. It is man in the loop.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me, and I want to push back on the physics a bit. This is a relatively light robot firing a machine gun. I mean, physics says the recoil should be shaking the camera all over the place. How is it getting a clear enough picture to accept a surrender if it's vibrating like a jackhammer?
That's a great question, and it's where the engineering really shines. It
Yeah.
uses an onboard ballistic computer. This thing calculates trajectory, air density, even the Coriolis effect in real time. But more importantly, it actively stabilizes the recoil. It allows a light robot to shoot with sniper-like precision.
And that precision is key for capturing someone. How so?
Well, you need to show you can kill them instantly if they make a wrong move without actually firing. If the gun is shaking or the aim looks wobbly, the enemy might think they have a chance to run or fight back. A perfectly stable, locked-on barrel that sends a message of total dominance.
Which brings us to the why. Why did these guys surrender to a robot? And how does that even work legally? I mean, can you surrender to a GoPro on wheels?
It connects to the broader I Want to Live or Hochu's ZIT strategic program. This is what they're calling technologically enabled surrender, or TES.
Technologically enabled surrender. That sounds incredibly bureaucratic for something so intense.
It is, but it's a formalized process. Russian soldiers can contact a hotline or even a chatbot. They receive coordinates, they go there, and they wait for a drone or a robot to come get them.
So they essentially make an appointment to surrender.
In a way, yes. The robot acts as a sentinel. It guides the prisoners back to Ukrainian lines, but it maintains that lethal threat profile the whole time to prevent any kind of treachery.
But is that legal? I'm thinking about the Geneva Conventions. They were written in the 1940s. They didn't really anticipate Terminators.
Well, this is the fascinating legal part. It comes down to Article 41 of the Geneva Conventions and a concept called constructive control.
Constructive control, what does that mean in plain English?
It means you don't need a human to physically handcuff someone to accept their surrender. If the operator can see the surrender clearly via those high-res optics we mentioned, and if they can signal acceptance, like nodding the turret,
The surrender is valid.
the surrender is valid, the robot is the proxy for the human operator.
I wonder about the psychology of it, though. Is it scarier to surrender to a robot, or is it easier?
The sources suggest it might actually be safer for the prisoner. Think about the heat of battle. Human soldiers get tired. They get angry. They might have just seen their buddy get hit. The desire for revenge is a very human emotion.
Robots don't get angry. They don't hold grudges.
Exactly. A robot is an implacable force. It doesn't scream at you. It doesn't tremble. It just points the gun. It removes the human emotion and the risk at a revenge killing in the heat of the moment. It's purely transactional. You comply, you live.
That is chilling, but I see the logic. It's safer because it's cold.
Right.
It actually puts Ukraine on the moral high ground here. They're using tech to remove the rage from the equation.
Precisely. And this incident didn't happen in a vacuum. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see a clear timeline of escalation. Ukraine has been building up to this.
Yeah, let's trace this back, because this didn't just start yesterday.
Yeah.
What was the first step?
Go back to July 2025. That was the first robot-only offensive by the 3rd Assault Brigade. They used robots to swarm a position. It was, a proof of concept.
And then there was the 45-day stand in November 2025. This is a story that just blew my mind. A single ground robot held a frontline position entirely solo for 45 days. How is that even possible? Doesn't the battery die?
That's the genius of it. The robot has a stationary battery life of about 120 hours, but it operates in a sort of sleep mode. It just sits there, sensors passive, watching. It wakes up when it detects movement, and then it repelled multiple assaults without a single human present.
Just imagine that. You're a Russian soldier, you think you've worn down the defenders, you charge, and it's just a machine that hasn't slept in a month waiting for you.
Then you get a December 10th, 2025. That was a big one.
Why was December 10th so significant?
That was the Droid TW-12.7, the heavy version with a Browning M2.50 caliber machine gun.
The big boy.
Right. It destroyed a Russian MTLB armored vehicle and its crew. That was the first documented case of a ground robot killing heavy armor.
A robot taking out an armored personnel carrier. That's leveling up from infantry skirmishes to anti-vehicle combat.
And just a few weeks ago, January 5th of this year, the SBU Center A used a UGV to evacuate a captured Russian soldier. So they've been practicing this ferrying capability for a while.
So they practice moving people before they try the autonomous surrender. That makes sense. But let's talk money, because war is expensive.
Look at the economics. The unit cost of these droids is around $29,000. It takes about 45 days to build one.
$29,000, that is,
Yeah.
honestly, in military terms, that's pocket change. A single Javelin missile costs way more than that.
It is. So compare a $29,000 robot to a multi-million-dollar vehicle, or compare it to the cost of training, equipping, and risking a human soldier. If that robot takes out an MTLB or captures 3 troops without risking a single Ukrainian life, well, the economic advantage is undeniable. It's a massive asymmetric win.
It's not just about offense, though, is it? We've got to talk about the humanitarian angle, because these robots are also saving lives directly.
Yes, the mall evacuation drone. It uses that same Pneumo chassis, but carries an armored capsule. It was developed for the 1st Medical Battalion.
There's a specific story about the Targan robot, right?
Yes. The Targan covered 12 kilometers to evacuate a wounded soldier. Traditionally, you'd need, maybe 8 human stretcher bearers to carry a wounded man that far over rough terrain.
And that's 8 people exposed to artillery, drones, snipers.
Exactly. 8 targets. The robot did it alone.
Replacing 8 targets with 1 machine. That is huge. And it seems like the world is noticing this isn't just a Ukrainian homebrew project anymore.
No, NATO is involved. The Droid TW-40, that's the grenade launcher variant, has received a NATO code. That means it meets the standards for interoperability. Ukraine is rapidly becoming a top exporter of combat-proven robotics.
And the market for this stuff is exploding.
The global market is projected to hit $40 billion by 2031.
Everyone is watching Ukraine right now. They are literally writing the textbook for the next century of warfare.
They are. And we have to look at the other side of the hill. What about the adversary? What is Russia doing?
Yeah, are they fielding their own robo-soldiers? Are we going to see robot-on-robot battles?
They're trying. They have robotic assault companies, or RACs, and platforms like the Courier and Depesha.
But I hear a but coming.
But the philosophy is completely different. The Russian model is very centralized, state-owned, coming out of giants like Rostec. The Ukrainian model is decentralized. It's a startup culture. It's agile.
And on the battlefield, what's the difference?
Resilience. Russian bots have shown a real vulnerability to high-end electronic warfare, or EW. If you jam the signal, the robot is a brick.
Right.
Ukrainian bots, like the Droid series, use redundant comms. They have Starlink, LTE, mesh networks. If one goes down, the others pick up. They were designed to survive the jamming.
That decentralization seems to be Ukraine's superpower. They just iterate so much faster.
Speed of innovation is a weapon in itself.
So what does this all mean? We are seeing robots capture people. We are seeing robots kill tanks. We're seeing robots save the wounded.
We are witnessing the synthesis of a new doctrine. We're moving from man in the loop, where a human is constantly driving, to man on the loop, where the human just supervises autonomous actions.
The no man's land is becoming a robot-only land.
Precisely. And the Lyman incident proved that those Terminator comparisons we hear in the media, they aren't just sci-fi hyperbole anymore.
It feels like we are standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down at a completely different landscape of war.
We are entering an era where machines not only fight battles, but manage the most human interaction of war. The surrender. Think about the implications of that. If a unit can master this, if they can force the enemy to surrender to a machine without firing a shot, they win the war of attrition. They save their own biological soldiers while depleting the enemy's manpower.
That is a provocative thought. The winner isn't who kills the most, but who automates the surrender process the best.
It changes the calculus of morale completely.
Well, we are going to be watching this very, very closely. This technology is moving fast, and as we saw yesterday in Lyman, it's already changing the map.
It certainly is.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex Scenario, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
We'll keep tracking the rise of the robo-soldiers.
And a final reminder. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.
Stay safe.